Another one I wanted to talk about was essentially we picked. So of all I think we picked 6 fights. We did picks, and 5 of them we were correct.
Which one were we correct on?
We said Adesanya was going to win by decision. We said that.
I said Moreno was going to win.
I said Figgy was going to win, so
Yeah.
I was wrong on that.
We picked Leon.
Picked Leon by decision.
And then
you picked Jamal.
I picked Craig.
Did you pick Craig?
And then we also picked
Riddell over Dober.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And is there another one I'm thinking of?
We also picked Muhammad over Maya.
Yes.
Yeah, Bilal Muhammad. Yeah.
So we did pretty well this card.
Yeah.
But I would say the big surprise for me was Figgy getting tapped out by Moreno. I know Moreno is very well-rounded. He's good everywhere. He's got good footwork. He's in and out. He's got this 1-2 combo that's so quick.
Yeah.
And he seems to get it. It doesn't matter like what distance he gets it. He could be really far out of range or he could be in really close. Yeah. And somehow he sneaks in that right cross and it just manages to hit money. It looked like Figgy, when I was watching that fight, in that first round, Figgy wasn't really doing much. No. Figueiredo wasn't doing much.
Well, that's what they were saying. They were saying, is Figgy not doing? Is he having a bad day, or is it an off day, or is just Brandon just gotten really good?
I thought Figueiredo was taking the round off because because he's such an explosive, fast twitch like athlete. I think it showed in the first fight he was gassing a little bit, and I think he was doing exactly what they told Paulo Costa to do. Take the first round. Just let it go. Let the first round go. Same way with Stipe Miocic. Didn't look quite right against Francis Ngannou, but he was just staying just busy enough just to be competitive, but not imposing his will. Then he started to speed it up in the second round, which is what Paulo done. Didn't work out well for Paulo. Didn't work well for Stipe. I don't know why they do it. But it looked like Figgy was doing the same thing. So when I was watching that fight, I was like, please, it's going to be another Paulo Costa when they take the first round, accumulate damage. Moreno's already got your timing, and then Moreno's still kind of fresh.
Yeah.
It looked like Figgy was, he was doing well in certain exchanges. However, Moreno was just quicker, and he made sure he was first every time.
He was moving around him a lot more, and he was looking for openings. He was looking for better angles, and he was doing a lot more feints. And then Figgy was just sort of trying to get a feel, but Brandon was already looking for those weaknesses. And then he noticed that something was up because he knocked him down with that jab. Then Figgy spun around back and fell down. I thought this could be over right then and there, but he managed to hold him. But one thing that Figgy was doing to try and wear out Brandon was he had him in like he would try to put him almost like in a side control, and he would wrap one arm around his neck and wrap one arm between his legs and sort of try and squeeze to get him uncomfortable, or at least trying to wear him out. Then when Brandon was able to he just held on really. And then he just managed to just keep his cool, keep him in his guard. And then come the third round, that's when he noticed that opening when he exposed his back and then just held on. I mean, which was a bit of a surprise because Figgy's won quite a few of his wins by submission. And I was still considering that Brandon normally he usually wins he's won a few by submission, but usually by knockout. That to get him by rear naked that quickly in the third round was quite a surprise.
What I found was probably the most impressive thing of Moreno was his transitions. As soon as he was in a dominant position, straight in, one hook in, second hook in. He's just that transition. He didn't leave. I think it was his transition was perfect. It was just he didn't leave. There was one time early in the fight that he tried to transition and it just the timing was just a little bit off. But in that third round, got him. It was beautiful. He quickly took his back, jumped on him right away, got the 2 hooks in, and started to go for the neck. Now, it looked like at one point he was just going to go for over the chin and just crank back, and that wasn't working. And then he it looked like Figueiredo was a bit uncomfortable in that situation. And that body triangle was just in very, very tight quite early in the third round. And then he just sunk it in, managed to get underneath the chin, and he was done. I think it was really cool to see Figueiredo lift up Moreno afterwards because
that was very
Figueiredo often plays the bad guy, and he does a really good job at it. He seems like a nasty motherfucker, and he plays a really good villain. But Moreno, you could never see that guy as a villain. He's such a nice guy, and for him to be the first ever Mexican-born UFC champion, you couldn't have a better role model for Mexico, I'll be honest. And it was so cool because we got Nate Diaz there and you got Moreno there. So there was a huge crowd, supporting Mexico. And when Moreno got that belt wrapped around his waist, he was crying. He was, and you couldn't not feel for the guy since back in 2018.
He was cut.
He was cut by the UFC, and prior to that, he was the last pick on the Ultimate Fighter.
Really?
He was the last pick, right? Then, and that was when there was the flyweight.
Yeah.
When all the different flyweight champions from different organizations were offered to be on the Ultimate Fighter, and he was one of the last picks, right? And then 2018 has a little bit of a bad skid, gets cut, re-enters the UFC later on. 2021 becomes the first ever Mexican flyweight champion. That's a storybook ending to me, to be honest. I think the main thing to take away is Moreno's transitions. Just would take his back like butter. It was amazing how he did that. It was incredible.
It was also his how calm he was in that moment, and as well he seemed a little bit more patient with his strikes. He didn't feel like he was rushing it, and there was also the idea that something was up at the press conference and something was up at the weigh-ins when he believed that he had a shot come in the weigh-ins when, what's his name, Davison Figueiredo pushed him. And then he seemed very stiff. And then the way that he responded to that was just so calm. And when stepping into the cage, he was just, I knew by the time he had knocked him down in that first round, it was going to win. And I was positive about it. But now there's something else I want to bring up. Someone put out a tweet after he won, saying from the name of Askar Askarov, and we know how good he is.
Yeah,
he's very, very
really good wrestler.
Really good wrestling. Very quick jabs. Very good Muay Thai background.
I did see that.
Yeah, I can see that happening because he drew with Brandon Moreno back in 2019, and that was the only result he had other than a loss and then a draw. So he had the draw to Davison the first time. Other than that, he's beaten everyone in his path to the way of the championship. So I reckon I wouldn't mind having a rematch between them two.
Yeah, I mean, certainly
where is Askarov in the rankings right
now? He would be quite far up there, to be honest, because he's, largely undefeated. He does have that one draw. However, he was never properly defeated by Brandon Moreno. And he's coming off a win at UFC 259, which was when he beat Joseph Benavidez.
Askar Askarov, he's second. So
number 2, yeah. I wasn't too sure if he was number 2 or number 3, but he's very high up there. So he's most likely going to be the next title contender. I'll be honest. So Askarov against Moreno, that would be a really, really excellent fight
because he's undefeated. Askar Askarov, so that would be really, really impressive. And plus, he's also from Dagestan, so we know how those Dagestan fighters are in the way that he beat Joseph Benavidez in the last fight. Can't wait to see that. But what do you think will be next for Figueiredo before we move on?
I think with Figueiredo is mainly just taking some time off. Look, I believe it was a close fight, but I believe he beat Moreno. If not for the penalties and getting the point taken off, he would have won, right? And I think, although it was a close fight, it was not a robbery for Moreno. I think Figueiredo won. So largely in my mind, that Figueiredo is won against Moreno, and Moreno has won against Figgy. I think that trilogy has to happen later down the line, right? Because they're some of the most explosive. Like, their first fight was insane. Probably the best the best battle in the flyweight division ever in the UFC, right? So I'm thinking that Figueiredo has a bit of time off. Maybe takes another fight, which could be, maybe a Cody Garbrandt or something like that. Then you've got Moreno that he can fight Askar Askarov. And then later down the line, if Figueiredo climbs up, which I'm sure he will, then they can have that trilogy down the line. However, Moreno should continue to stay active, being a young champion, and I think he should fight Askar Askarov because they do have history, Askar Askarov being an undefeated Dagestani wrestler, and he does have the history of being, going to a draw with Moreno. So that feeds really well in terms of a selling point and a storyline as well.